What happens next, Rich?
I think that's it. Thank you, everybody. Have a great weekend. Enjoy Vegas. Drive safely. I want everybody, real quickly,
Oh my God.
to take a look at that head of hair, because at the end of the next 15 minutes, off it goes. All for charity. But we can't get that hair cut off unless we get this party going now. So without further ado, may I say,
Can you take
Misha
pictures
Collins.
of him with her?
Hello. You guys, that is so sweet what you just did. A little late for Valentine's Day, but very sweet. I don't think that you can speak for everyone when you say that. Hey, security!
Ginger's not silent.
That was great. I want a picture. I want a video. Okay, bye. Oh my gosh, there's so many people looking at me. I don't know what to do up here. Take it off? I know that voice. Mom. Sorry. I always like to start the show off with a quick incest joke.
Where's Rudy?
Where's Rudy? Oh, the best part about Rudy is that I don't know if I mentioned this in the video. A lot of you probably haven't seen it, but we taxidermied a dead hamster, and it was a rush job. When you call a taxidermist and you say, like, I need this stat, they're like, well, there's a curing process, we have to tan the hide, it takes 2 months. And he said it was like sewing wet toilet paper. And Rudy's lips didn't hold together so it looks like an Evil Dead hamster. You know, it's just like partly disintegrating. And to make that video, I went back over to our friend's house because we had given this to them, and I said, could I borrow Rudy? I just wanted to, tell the Rudy story. So I borrowed Rudy, and all of the skin of Rudy, there's this little, what's it called? The thing that it's sitting on?
Pedestal?
Pedestal, sort of. The pedestal under Rudy has all of this like little pile of dead skin. It's so vile. Anyway, I just wanted to share that too. I like to start off every show with an incest joke and then something about taxidermy. The dog is okay, as far as I know. Although, so we've pet sat 2 dogs in the last year, and in the first one they just said, just don't feed the dog chocolate or grapes or raisins, and then the kids fed the dog a bunch of grapes and raisins. And we were apoplectic. We thought for sure the dog was going to die, and we were going to have to come up with some elaborate excuse. But it made it through just fine. So sometimes you can feed dogs grapes and raisins. Did you know that, by the way? I didn't know that. The dogs can't eat food? Okay, all right, fine. I feel like we're not totally on point right now, and I apologize for that. And then the other dog, the dog that we were recently sitting for, they said, dog is very sweet and obedient, but just don't let him out of the house, because not good with cars, and we live on a busy road. And the family that dropped him off left, and I opened the door to take the compost out, And half an hour later, I was like, hey, where's that dog? And it was several blocks away across the street. Okay, enough about that. I have other pet sitting stories. What can I tell you? Oh, I have one more story, and then I'll not stop telling stories. My daughter, I had a terrible night's sleep on Thursday night. I think I'm still adjusting from going from day shoots and night shoots and back again and losing your circadian rhythm. So I just couldn't sleep. I couldn't sleep. Finally, around 3 o'clock in the morning, I started drifting off, and you know that like just right before you fall asleep state? It's like, oh, I remember thinking, oh, fuck, finally. And then Mason goes, ah, and threw up. And that was it. There was no sleep that night. But in the morning, I was grumpy and had not slept at all, and I was making the kids breakfast. And West wakes up like a little fireball. He's just full of energy every morning, and it's so fucking annoying. And he was right in Mason's face, like waving his hand in her face and laughing maniacally. And she was just like, please stop. And I said, West, please. She had a hard night. She was throwing up. Can you give her a little space? And he said, whoa, Dad, who taught you puppy dog eyes? Totally taking away any of my power at that moment. So frustrating. Okay, enough about my children and pets. Hi.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good, and you?
I'm good, thank you.
I actually just wanted to ask, now with the news of what's going on next season, is there any kind of project you're interested in maybe getting into?
Well, I'm gonna sit down. You know, it's funny because it's not funny, it's sad. This show's just been going on for so long that I think in part of my unconscious mind, I started to take it for granted. Like, it's just going on forever. And we all knew that it was gonna end at some point and that we had to end it at some point. But I hadn't really allowed myself to start thinking about what happens after Supernatural. And I still haven't done that. I'm still sort of processing and trying to take a 30,000 foot view and figure out what do I really want to do when I grow up, if I grow up. And what? Okay. And so I am announcing my candidacy. I love the idea that you could just be like, you know, you happen to have a microphone, happen to be on stage, and someone's like, you should run for president. Okay, great idea. That's what I'm gonna do. I've been waiting for somebody to give me a sign. So I don't really know. I have a lot of ideas. I was saying earlier in our my meet and greet, you know, I come from not a lot of means, and so when I got on the show and then I started to gain a sort of minor celebrity status, all of a sudden there were all these opportunities that came my way, or I could sort of start materializing things that I wanted to, and I felt like, well, I better do that because you know, while I can, make hay while the sun shines, and then the fucking show never ended. And so then I just had this mountain of stuff that I was working on, and I started to kind of burn myself out a little bit, just with too much stuff and not saying no enough. So I mean, in a sense, I think it's a nice opportunity to recalibrate and figure out, you know, what I really want to be doing and in what manner. And thank you for this group therapy, by the way. This has been super helpful. It's such an unusual phenomenon. The woman that was driving me over here from my hotel said, you know, what are you doing at the Rio? And I said, we're doing a fan convention. And she said, oh, is that Star Trek or the longest running show? And I said, yeah, it's that longer running show. And it's amazing to be a part of something that goes on for so long. There was a woman who came up for photos with her mother, and her mother said, I've been watching the show since before she was born. And it wasn't a girl, I mean, she was a woman. I mean, you know, she was 15 years old, but looked, you know, older. And it was really, it's just so amazing to see how much life has transpired since the inception of this show, and how much it's become a part of the fabric of our psyches in the cast and crew. I know that we're all going to miss it, but we're all going to take it with us too when we go on to whatever the next thing is.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hi.
Hi.
So,
Hold on, hold, please. Stephanie, are you back there? Hi, Stephanie. Time to shave the beard? Borha. Oh, shave the Borha.
Where's your
This is Stephanie. She works on Supernatural. She happened to be here this weekend. So I'm going to do a show and tell with Stephanie. She asked me not to do this, by the way. Just to set the stage. Hi, hello. So tell us about yourself.
Hello. I'm an on-set dresser on the show. I work the odd episodes. Been on the show since season 9.
Are the episodes odd because you're working on them?
They get weirder. I work odd number, so I work with the second AD, who's Kevin Parks. First AD, who's Kevin Parks, and then Deb Hurst is the second AD. So I alternate with a man named Greg Williams, so he does the even numbers.
And what is it like to work on the set of Supernatural with such charming people such as Misha Collins?
You're lovely. As everyone we work with, I think in the industry we're quite aware that situations like us on Supernatural do not happen often.
You got this.
It's quite a significant family resemblance on the show. I think it's somewhere. Thank you. I need 50 of these. And I certainly needed them on the Friday when we got the message. I luckily was not at work the day that the crew was told. I texted, thank you. And I sobbed in bed all day. It has been an amazing journey to work with amazing people.
And me.
And sometimes when Misha's there, I guess. But it's amazing. It's amazing. It's not just what you see and what you hear online from fans, and the people that you meet are the people we get to experience every day. They're always nice. They are always pleasant. They are always amazing people to work with, and that goes for the entire cast and crew. I'm very fortunate, as I'm sure we all know of everyone on the show. We are all very fortunate. And the show has been going on and giving me a job, and so many people a job that we love every day because of the fans who watch it. It's such a significant difference that happens there as well because of a fan base that appreciates and loves the work. And it's again, a rare occasion. We're going to finish off a show and think, wow, we made a difference in the world. How many shows can say how much of a difference the show's been made? There you go.
Thank you for saying articulately what I was trying to say. Thank you. Stephanie is so on it. Like, if this is a piece of set dressing, and someone moves it like that, she'll be like. I mean, you really don't miss anything. Yes, thank you. We call her the ninja.
Hi.
Okay, I'm sorry.
No.
I so rudely interrupted you.
Misha, this is your panel, it's fine.
No, it's your panel.
So, this book is basically Dungeons & Dragons, but it's a supernatural version. Super rare. My question for you is, if you got to like sit down and play, what kind of a character would you build, and what would the greatest strengths and weaknesses be?
I would probably want to be the top hat, and I would want 5 hotels on Boardwalk. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hi. So my question is, if you could create or build any monster or creature, what would the ideal characteristics be of that monster or creature?
Well, when you say ideal, what do you mean? Like most terrifying?
Like that would be like the most powerful, like
Scariest?
yeah, like
Okay.
yeah.
It would probably have long brown hair, be about 6'4". Often be found in plaid. And communicate with grunts.
Thank you. That's a
Thank
beautiful
you.
answer.
Yeah. Hi.
Hello. I was just wondering what your favorite music is.
I like an eclectic mix of music, but I would say probably, I don't know, probably like Mason singing Katy Perry. So great. She doesn't carry a tune terribly well, but she really has a lot of passion, and I love her. And she also knows lyrics that, I mean, she listens to a song once and knows all the lyrics, and then, sings them with such gusto. I made this video of her sitting in her car seat, and I had, you get in the car and the Bluetooth picks up and it just starts playing music, and yeah, I had this song by a musician named Stu that has a line that says, well, this is what I saw Mason singing to herself when the music was no longer playing. She was just sitting in her car seat and she was singing, "The naked Dutch painter in the kitchen does not wanna fuck you." And it was just one of those adorable little late toddler moments.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hi.
So I want to ask a question about the 300 episode. You're super badass during the fight scene.
Yes.
So can you explain, or how many takes, or any
You mean how did they manage to make Misha look badass?
Yeah.
What kind of special effects were employed?
No, obviously you're a badass, because I seen whenever y'all walked in, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's badass Kaz, kick some ass, and then I was like, oh yes, kick Jensen's ass, kick Julian's ass, come on.
It was a bit of a revenge fantasy for me. Yeah, Castiel has gone through, as anyone who has watched the show for a long time knows, a lot of iterations. And he started as this soldier of God, and with a very sort of militant, commanding personality, because that's what the first scripts, how he showed up in the first scripts. And then the writers sort of recalibrated after casting me, and he became this socially awkward dork who fights like this. I've told this story too many times, but we were doing this special shot. Bob Singer was directing, and he likes to do these sort of throwback to like 1970s grindhouse kind of movies. And one shot that he wanted is Jared was playing Gadriel at that point, and he walks in, and I punch him but right into the lens. So you don't actually, you just see the fist coming toward the lens. And, and so we did the first take, and everybody at Video Village, which is the director and the script supervisor and Jensen happened to be back there, everybody started laughing hysterically, and they were like, Misha, that was hilarious, that's so good. All right, for real this time, for real. And I was like, what's happening? And then they played it back for me, and, you know, right into the lens. But I think Cass had a good arc in this season. The first episode he shows up in, he walks in, there's a room full of demons, and he doesn't throw one punch before he's just tied up and left completely incapacitated for the rest of the episode. And then toward the end, we had sort of the throwback episode, and Cass got to beat a bunch of people up. There was actually a scene in the finale, where Cass took on a whole room full of demons and beat them up. And I was like, oh my God, my hips are gonna hurt so bad after that. And then they cut it because the show was running too long, so we never even shot it. And I say it because the show was running too long. Probably the producers were like, you really, Misha is playing Castiel, right? No one will believe that. Okay, good talk.
Thank you.
Hi.
Hi. I was wondering what your most irrational / strangest fear is.
I would say 4 years ago, I would have said that Donald Trump becomes our president. But now, I don't know. I have irrational fears. Do you have irrational fears?
When I was little, I was like severely afraid of slugs. Like, I don't know. And then I read somewhere that some person was really afraid of baloney. So like, any like super strange thing you'd be afraid of for no reason.
Frankly, I think it's fair to be afraid of baloney. What's in that, you know? For a long time, when I was like 4, we lived on a river and we would throw sticks, and my dog Bear would run into the river and grab the stick and come back out. And I threw a stick and he ran into the river and he came back out as a giant, he was a black dog, he came out of the river as a giant black big bird. And I was afraid of my dog from that point on. I was like, at any point, this guy is going to Bear Dog is going to turn into a giant character from Sesame Street. And I was always like, doo, doo, doo. And at the time when I was like 4 and 5, before this incident, I used to feed Bear. After that, I wouldn't touch the dog food. I just had to stay away from the dog. And it wasn't until I was like 9, and I was telling some kids in my new school, like, yeah, and then my dog threw the stick, and the dog went in, and it came out, and I was like, oh, I dreamed that. That wasn't real. And just like everything clicked into place. And that fear was eradicated at that point. And Bear was still alive, so we had a few good years after that. That's fairly irrational, I suppose.
Yeah.
Does that fit the bill? Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Hi. I was wondering, you do a lot of things with charity and Gish Wish and everything. Is there another project coming, or do you have any plans to?
You're getting kind of bored of the old stuff?
No, I just, I didn't know if that was something that you did in conjunction with, Supernatural cast and everybody, or if it was something that you did on your own, you know what I mean?
No, I don't.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
I don't know.
I mean, if we're being honest with each other, I don't totally know what you
Well,
mean.
it's, okay.
Okay. Are you asking if after Supernatural there might be some projects that involve the cast and the fandom, or that I
Right.
do stuff, you know,
Is
off
this
on my
gonna
own,
be a
assume a new
continuing-
identity?
Continuing things that make you happy, because I think that part of you makes you happy. I don't know. I don't know.
Which part?
The charities.
Okay,
and the,
we're getting
the
somewhere.
giving and the,
Yes.
You know.
Well, I ultimately hope to set up some sort of assisted living facility for the cast of Supernatural. It'll be the final sort of act of charity. And they can be cared for in their old age. All of the TVs will just play Supernatural. Yeah. Every meal will have pie.
And Jensen will become fat and, you know.
Yeah, well, he's already sort of working toward that.
Are you allowed to tell me you said that?
Yeah, so. Do you have any ideas for me?
No, I just, like I said, I think that the fundraising and the charity and stuff is something that you enjoy. I mean, I think that's something that, I know it's hard work and everything, but I think
How do you know I don't just do it to make myself look good?
Just because
I
don't think so.
I love that aspect of what this job has evolved into. You know, when I joined Supernatural, I had no idea that it was going to somehow have this ripple effect of being able to materialize or catalyze really cool acts of charity and fundraising, and nor did I have any idea that this whole fandom and this community would coalesce around the show, but also coalesce with its own identity as being a kind, generous, giving community. It's pretty remarkable, like, because that doesn't have anything to do with Supernatural. Right. They're like, you know, those guys just run around shooting things, and you guys have really built up something that I think is so remarkable, and to have been able to be a part of that is incredibly gratifying. Yeah, so gratifying. Like, for me, I think that's half of the satisfaction of having been a part of this show is seeing that we as a community could do those things. So after the show and after the assisted living facility is built, I would love to find ways to keep doing things like that, and I'd love to also find ways to keep this community sort of, I don't know, like, you know, have family reunions.
Yeah.
and make it feel like, just because the show that was, you know, the kindling that started the fire of this fandom is gone, doesn't mean that the fire can't, you know, continue to rage and potentially eradicate millions of acres of forestry. The metaphor ran away from me, I'm sorry. But yeah, thank you for asking.
Thank you.
Hi, Misha.
Hi, how are you?
Freaking out a little. It's my first con.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, welcome.
Thanks. I had a question for you regarding My Bloody Valentine, Season 5, Episode 14. Dean sends you into Bickerson's to meet with Famine, take out Famine, and Famine throws you a steak in the form of a pan of ground beef.
Yeah.
What were they actually making you eat?
This was a very traumatic experience for me. I was still, I think this was season 4 or season 5?
Season 5.
Season 5. I was still green enough on the show that I was eating from the dog dish. I was eating the dog dish on the floor, right?
No. It was a pan, like a pan of like
Okay.
restaurant food.
Oh, I'm sorry, it wasn't exactly right. I was eating like a dog from a pan, but not a dog dish.
Right.
But on the floor, as if I were a dog.
Yes.
Thank you for specifying.
I got you.
I was green enough that I was eating that on my hands and knees when the camera wasn't on me. It was broken apart vegetarian sausage. Tofu sausage, cold. Broken apart.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's funny too because on the show normally when Jared and Jensen have a scene like, oh, so we're gonna be in a diner, you're gonna have a burger, what do you want? Do you want like a juicy quarter pounder, medium done, it'll be served warm. You want pickles, no pickles? What kind of lettuce would you like on that? Misha, you'll be having the ground up, cold, vegetarian sausage on the floor. There's sort of a little bit of a hierarchy. Speaking of charity, when are we shaving Borja's head? That comes, I guess, at the end. Okay. Those of you who haven't donated, he's raising money for an organization that helps fight childhood cancer. So you could just use your phone to do that. So he posted a link. Have you all done it already? Can anyone tell me, have we gotten to $5,000? Ooh. Okay, hi.
Hi. First of all, where is the assisted living place going to be in what state?
Where is it going to be and in what state?
Yeah.
Well, I think it's probably going to be somewhere in Kansas. Or wait, no, where are we going to be? It's going to be...
Warmer.
Where?
I'm from Iowa, so it needs to be somewhere warmer.
Somewhere warmer?
Yeah.
Arizona.
How about Vegas? That could be great.
Open to everybody.
What's that?
Open to everybody, right?
Open to everybody?
Yeah.
Oh, no. This is
Like a zoo. Somebody said.
very exclusive. This is just for the retired cast of Supernatural. I'm sorry if I misled you.
Well, you're gonna sell tickets, right?
Yeah, of course we're gonna sell tickets. It'll be an entirely glass building, and anyone can come watch at any time. It'll be like that biodome. It'll be completely self-sufficient. We'll have to recycle our own manure and grow our own vegetables. I'm tired, I'm sorry. Was that your question?
No.
Okay.
Having seen your videos with your kids and myself being kind of a sarcastic person, I have a 19-year-old son, and there was a point where I looked at him and said, oh shit, he's just like me. What do you fear? What do you see your kids, at what point do you see that happening and yourself saying that?
When am I gonna say, oh shit,
Yeah,
they're just
how
like
old
me?
do you think they'll be?
Well,
What will it be?
West is starting to already get there. When he was like, oh yeah, Dad, where'd you learn puppy dog eyes? I was like, how the, what? Is it that transparent? I thought I was being stern.
But as teenagers, what are you afraid of?
What am I afraid of?
Yeah.
I'm afraid that they will be like I was when I was a teenager. I mean, the culture now is so different from when I was a kid. We're very protective of our children. We make sure they don't cross the street. When I was West's age, when I was Mason's age, I was walking. I mean, this is literally like one of those. Like I used to ice skate 20 miles in each direction to school when I was a kid. But I would literally walk on a little path through the woods for 1.5 miles each way to the bus stop when I was 6, with my 4-year-old brother in tow, by ourselves. And we missed the bus sometimes, and then we would try to hitchhike to school. Like, My children, I'm like, you're allowed to ride your bike in the driveway, but not on the sidewalk. And I think we had a very permissive childhood, and so when I got older, by the time I was in high school, I was, occasionally stealing cars and, I would road race. Me and my friend would race 20 or 30 miles on back country roads, and I cannot believe that we survived. But I'm terrified that my children will do that kind of stuff, because it was a miracle that I survived. And I would prefer them to survive. So that's my biggest fear. Or I suppose that either one of them would want to become an actor. That would be terrible. Mason the other day said she's got 3 or 4 little purple crystals, and she said, "Hey Dad, do you think it's possible that someone could just be famous for having found a really cool crystal?" And I said, "What? Yeah, I suppose so." And she said, oh, and then I said, is that something that you want? Do you want to be famous? And she was like, no. No, because then people will be coming up to me all the time, trying to take pictures with me, saying, "Are you the one that found that purple crystal?" Okay.
Thank you.
Hi.
Hi, Misha.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, thanks.
What was or is your proudest moment in your career?
God, so many things I'm sort of, as you may know, full of myself, so a lot of things are popping into my head right now. I'll just share a couple of them quickly. One was when William Shatner first tweeted to me. I was like, oh, and then subsequently I realized, it's just Shatner. But another was when NASA officially named a mountain on Mars Gishwas. I've had a few moments where I thought, I could just quit now. I feel like that's a satisfying conclusion. Another one was actually on our second to last day of shooting. No, it was last Friday. And we were sitting, Jared and I were sitting next to each other in the scene, and they did my coverage first. And he, with all of his Neanderthal strength, was pinching my inner thigh as hard as he could. I have this line of bruises up my crotch. It stops right there. And I managed to get the tapes off. I was just like, And I felt like I had come a long way at that point. I was pretty pleased with myself. And in fairness, on his coverage, I pretty much tore the flesh off of his arm. We were discussing this in my meet and greet too. It's funny because a lot of times, the fans will break down, minute expressions on our faces in scenes. And typically, what we're thinking is, fuck, what's my line? That's the level of thought that we put into it. Or sometimes oh, God damn you, Jared. It's amazing to see that there's this sort of layered interpretation that goes into some of the things that I'm sure it's all I'm trying to do is not laugh. But there's meaning, there's hidden meaning in everything. What do you do for your career?
I'm an RN at an assisted living home.
Are you happy at your current place of employment? Did you say fairly happy?
No, I'm very happy.
You are very happy? Yes, it's just a negotiating tactic, isn't it? The benefits are great. I get paid $300,000 a year. Well, what do you think of the plan?
It's okay.
All right, we'll have to circle up later. I'd like to pick your brain a little bit. Thank you. Bye.
Hi, Misha. How are you?
Hi, good, how are you?
I'm great. First of all, I would like to say that I'm very proud of you and your accomplishments and your talents, and for sharing them with all of us, and also sharing your family with us as well. And we appreciate you.
Thank you for your kind words, that's very sweet.
My question is, if you were to direct another episode of Supernatural, especially with the final season coming up, what would your idea and vision be for that episode?
I would love nothing more than to do a cross-dressing musical episode. It seems like such low-hanging fruit and so obvious, and I don't know why we haven't done it yet.
Would you still play your current character just as cross-dressed?
I think Castiel already is cross-dressed. He's just like, we don't know what's going on with him. Yeah, that's it. That's all I have.
Sounds great. I'll look forward to it.
Thank you. And the character of Sam would be animated in my episode also. Hi.
Hi, Misha. So you've played a few different roles on Supernatural, and I was wondering if you could be any character inhabiting your meat suit. Which one would you pick?
Pardon me?
Yeah. So which one would you want to act as?
Wait, say that again?
So which character would you want to have inhabit your meat suit so you can act as them?
So I can do what?
Act as them. Be that character.
Okay. So which character would I want
Out of any
deep
of the
inside
characters.
my meat suit? There are children in this audience. That's disgusting. I'm sorry. Aren't there some sort of rules about what you can ask?
She said it was fine.
We have often commented on set. So Don, who is our sound mixer, he records everything, and he's probably saved everything that he's ever recorded from the show. And he could so ruin our lives. We often joke that any 15 seconds, any randomly selected 15-second excerpt of our off-camera dialogue would ruin us. And I think that's true. I don't know who I would want in my meat suit. It's going to be a little bit tricky for me to answer this question now because of the suggestions that I just made. I was going to say Rowena too. I think that'd be pretty fun. What's that? That was loud. And also not a Scottish accent. Scottish accent is not my strong suit, but it would be an opportunity to bone up on that, if you'll pardon the expression. I'm sorry, I don't know what happened to me today. It's Vegas. Do you have any other ideas for me?
One of the boys.
I see. I see what kind of slash fic you're into. It would, you know, Dean is kind of easy. Jim. Thank you. Hi.
I will say that your portrayal of Lucifer, though, that was phenomenal. Your idiosyncrasies you picked up on him were spot on. That was brilliant, it really was. Okay, so my name's Kathy and I'm from Wyoming.
Hi, Kathy from Wyoming.
Okay, I'm gonna try not to cry here. So, I just want to say that as the parent of a transgender child, that when you came out in support of them meant the entire world for me and for my kids. I was just wondering what your inspiration was to be so vocal about it, because it meant a lot to us.
Gosh, I wish I could say that there was some specific inspiration, but I just have always felt like excluding or marginalizing minority groups is kind of one of the worst things.
I agree.
And gender and sexuality identities often have a lot of, historically there's been a lot of stigma attached to them too. So it's not only that people are getting victimized from the outside, but they're also feeling shame on the inside a lot of times. And those two things kind of go together and feed each other. And I think the less people the more people feel accepted, the less shame they feel, and the more they can be themselves and enjoy their lives as people all should have the right to. So I think it's such a lovely trend that we have. There are ups and downs, but I think we have a trend toward greater acceptance in those fields. And I think that that's really important and something that I want to keep, helping to champion.
It's appreciated so much because it is probably one of the most misunderstood of all of the, of the LGBTQ community. There's even bullying from within the LGBTQ community.
I know. It's kind of complicated. I'm actually, I've been, for the last few years, working on a feature film that is about a trans character. But it's not a traditional trans character, and because he doesn't fit into the neat boxes that even the trans community sometimes, thinks like this is the definition of trans, doesn't quite fit into the neat boxes, and so is sometimes ostracized by the trans community, which I find really ironic. Like, I think that the overarching intention should be to just accept everyone as they want to represent themselves. And anyway, so it's an issue that I kind of do feel pretty passionate about, and this is a project that I've been working on for a long time.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I ask you one more question? When your child, came out to you, or?
My child was about 2 years old.
Oh, really?
She would put shirts and pants on her head and say it was her hair. And, and because I had these 3 little boys running around, and they would all just get their hair cut really short, and we didn't really understand. And then it became this whole thing where it was so persistent. I mean we're talking 2 years old. And it was one day we were in the store, and I was like, I'm like, baby, it's okay to pretend to be a girl, that's fine, but you're a little boy, right? Because I thought maybe the child was just confused. And she said, no, Mama, I'm not a boy, I'm a girl. And we got into this whole thing about it. And so then, like about a year later, we're driving along and we were talking about Scooby-Doo. We were talking about Scooby-Doo Monster Island, I think it's called. And Keurig went, that's it. Fred has my body. And I went, what? And it's because it was that whole changing of the spirits within their bodies, and now this child was stuck in the boy's body, and and so it was like something's going on here, and I knew nothing about it. And then it turned out that somebody who I dated in high school turned out to be transgender, and they got a hold of me and was like, guess what? and welcomed me into this world, and so I've been a fierce mama bear since.
Well, good for you. She's lucky to have you for mom.
Hi, Misha. My
Hi.
question to you is, if there's any character that's dead in the supernatural world, who will he bring back and why?
Kevin. Crowley. Kevin. Crowley. Kevin.
Wow, people have a lot of opinions here. To be honest with you, there are a lot of different characters that I'd love to see back, and a lot of actors that I'd like back on the show. And if I pick just one, I'll be alienating all of the others. If I don't say Crowley, Mark Shepard's gonna know I don't like him. So, but I actually, I recently sent an email to Bob and Andrew saying, hey, what about getting Meg back? What about bringing Rachel Miner back and finding a way to write her, wheelchair and disability into the story? And they're like, oh, interesting idea. Which probably means, no, Misha, leave us alone, but nonetheless, that I guess is the answer.
Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, this is a somber affair, isn't it?
Barbershop time with Misha Collins, cutting the hair of Mike Borja. Barbershop time with Misha Collins.
This looks like we're gonna kill somebody.
There will be blood!
Is there a bathtub full of acid that we can dispose of the body in later?
So quick reminder, Michael Borja is shaving his head for charity to raise money for a pediatric charity for cancer. It's awesome. And for some reason, Mike Borja, who absolutely knows Misha Collins, has met Misha Collins, still wanted Misha Collins to shave his head. It makes no sense.
Where are we now on the fundraising, guys?
Yeah, Mike, how you doing on the fundraising?
4,010? Can we just get it up to 5,000 before we do this?
Yeah, let's get to 5,000. So
How?
Donate! We tweeted it.
How?
Where's the link? Didn't you tweeted the link?
I tweeted the link.
Misha tweeted the link. You probably don't follow Misha. He's on social media. Has a bit of a presence. All right, so this is, just so you know, Mike started growing this hairdo in 1987. Why are you wearing the goggles? I thought Mike was going to wear them. All right, so this is exciting. I know a lot of you had a fantasy, like, wouldn't it be hot if Misha Collins could shave me bald? Well, one lucky fan, so Michael Borja is about to live out that fantasy.
We've got it. That's the big clippers, and then we this for fine tuning.
This one's sort of the brute, huh?
Yeah.
This one takes off the whole scalp. When we were in the green room, Mike was like, just to be clear, we're talking up here, not...
We can't wait to see the hidden tattoos underneath the...
Mike made specific instructions, leave my landing strip alone, was what he said. There he goes, Mike. Oh, I shouldn't shake the floor. Oh, Billy, here. I'll do that. You gotta play some
I'll wear the goggles just in case.
Haircut and guitar. Because if Mike Borja's getting his head shaved right now, live. I know, I'm telling myself, but...
Oh, there's a lot of shaking going on.
Mike is...
You shouldn't have done all that blow before you...
Some haircut music.
Wow. Wow, it comes right off.
Wow, really?
Robots really do have skulls.
Now we're gonna go with, we're gonna do a few steps here. It's gonna be first gonna be a boar hawk. I got one person laughing at my boar hawk here. One person with dignified taste in comedy. Oh, we have half hawk. Yeah.
That's some haircut music, man.
Misha, why aren't we getting any good hairdresser banter? You should be asking about his day.
Yeah. So, tell me about the kids. How's everybody doing?
Kids are great. Kids are fantastic.
Did you hear about Khloe Kardashian and all that?
No.
Well, apparently her best friend.
Yes.
Her best friend was doing it with her baby daddy.
What? No. Please tell me.
You're blocking the camera.
Now, after you do the mohawk, I wanted to lose this and keep just this up here. So it looks like that character from what's that movie where all the kids go on the.
Why are you wearing safety goggles?
Just in case, man. Anything can happen up here.
You're blocking the camera.
You're blocking the camera.
In gray, yeah.
Boom, Borja with a haircut, cutting off his hair, revealing that bald head. Oh yeah, it's Mr. B. What did you say? I pity the fool.
The hair? There? Is that good?
It's not really centered, is it?
No.
Not centered at all.
My nose is here. Oh my God, that's not centered.
No, not centered. Listen, you're getting what you paid for.
Exactly.
You look good, Mike.
How's it look?
It looks good in that sort of uncentered mohawk kind of way. In that, it's like you got your hair cut at Chateau Oops.
Yeah.
There goes the metal boy, there we go.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah. Ariel will do that.
You're gonna just need a tough right here.
Oh my God.
By the way, I hope somebody's checking the amounts now. Have we hit 5 G's yet?
We better hit 5 or we're just gonna leave them like this for the rest of the night.
Yeah, what's our total, Robbie?
Our total is
5,000!
Alright, let's stop there. Thanks so much. Right here.
Thank you.
Misha.
Oh, here you go. Why you're looking for a razor you thought a microphone might do? Like, what was that?
Let's get behind the ears.
Is that getting in your way? Are you going to hurt him if I do that?
Misha, you're really good at what you do.
You're really good.
You see that?
Are you sweating, buddy?
I'm sweating so much. There's no air in this thing.
It's really just a rain poncho.
Wow, when you see the sun gleaming through that tuft of hair, it's very poetic.
There you go. Oh, that's better. That's great. Oh, thank you.
And I think these people actually paid to be here.
Wow.
Like, this really changes your look, hashtag
Yeah.
not.
Really?
No.
You look 2, maybe 3 days younger.
You better put the goggles on, he's going to punch you in the face.
No, it's the first time. Really? Yeah.
Wait, first time you ever shaved your head?
Yes, first time I ever shaved my head.
It's my first time.
Yeah, dude.
I got news for you. I'm seeing it now with the goatee but no hair. He looks like a Bond villain. Well, Mr. Bond, I see you've come to the convention.
We are at 5,168, Michael.
Yeah.
What was the amount you wanted to raise at first?
5,000.
No, but at first you were like, you were hoping for 1,000. 1,000. Now we're at 5,168. That's great, man.
Robbie, the goggles on your head with the glasses on your face. I mean,
my favorite is halfway through when someone yelled at me, "You're blocking the camera!"
that was only because you were blocking the camera.
Yeah, the camera, by the way, being made by
Ladies and
Chris
gentlemen, the new and improved
Michael Moore!
and Misha Collins doing the dirty work.
Mike, you look awesome.
Mike, you look great. There he is, Michael Moore. Michael Ball.
God, that's such a good cause.
Thank you, everybody. Really appreciate your donations. Love you all. Love you all.
Thank you, Mike, for doing that. That was awesome. Now, Mike,
And how about the
go assume the position musician, sir.
How about the props out to the barber, huh? Misha Collins, everybody. A really good job.
Tune in next week when Misha Collins gives Stephen Norton a pedicure. Ladies and gentlemen, do we have the bass? We're waiting on the bass. Hold on. You can't leave. You can't leave yet, Misha. We gotta make it official. Come on, Mike. Come do your job. Hold on. Wait awkwardly. Wait awkwardly. Don't leave. Wait awkwardly. Wait. And 1, 2. Misha Collins, everybody!
Thank you, everybody.
That was great. That was awesome.
Yeah, man.
Nice job, Mike.
Such a great cause, too.
Hey, listen, thank you guys for making that charitable effort so worthwhile. That was up to you guys and Mike, and you teamed up and raised some good money for a great cause.
And thank you all. And the link is on my Twitter, so it's for stbaldricks.org. Thank you all.
Thank you. Rob, what happens now?
Right now, we're gonna take a little break. I think there's some autographs and photographs. Pie-graphs.
Great.
And then we're gonna gather back here at 9 p.m.-ish and play a little concert for y'all.
Saturday Night Special, everybody. We'll see you back here on the stage.